Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the House of Law and I'm Attorney Al Jumrani. In one of my previous videos, I got a comment requesting that I talk about the difference between Recto Law and Maceda Law. Sorry it took some time, but here it is. I hope by the end of the video, you'll know what, why, and when you will apply the Recto Law and Maceda Law. Let's begin. What is the Recto Law and the Maceda Law, and why do we have these laws? Both the Recto Law and Maceda Law are laws that apply to sale of things on installment. By installment, we mean that the buyer is given a period to pay the price, and the portions of the price are paid at different intervals or times within that period, and the obligation is extinguished upon the expiration of the period, provided, of course, that the buyer complies religiously with the stipulated payments. Now, a bit of history. The Recto Law was introduced by the great Senator Claro M. Recto back in 1933. It was denominated as Act Number 4122, which amended the Civil Code of 1889. When the Philippine legislature passed the present Civil Code in 1950, the Recto Law was incorporated as Article 1484. Meanwhile, the Maceda Law was authored by the late but equally great Senator Ernesto Maceda in 1972. It was designated as Republic Act Number 6552. Unlike the Recto Law, which has been incorporated in the Civil Code, the Maceda Law is a special law that is an adjunct or supplement to the Civil Code provisions on sales. Now, what's the difference between the two? Well, first, application and purpose. The Recto Law applies to sale of personal property on installment. Personal property includes cars, appliances, machinery. The purpose of the law is to limit the options or remedies of the seller when the buyer fails to pay the installments. The Maceda Law, on the other hand, applies to sale of real property on installment. Real property includes houses, subdivision lots, and residential condominium units. The purpose of the law is to provide the requirements and the rights and benefits that a buyer of real property on installment can have when the buyer fails to pay or make further installments on the purchased real property. So, what are the options or remedies of a seller under the Recto Law? When a buyer defaults in his payments, the seller has the following remedies. First, demand payment or fulfillment of the obligation. Second, cancel the sale. Or third, foreclose the chattel mortgage if one has been constituted on the object of the sale. So those are the three remedies under Article 1484. Note that these remedies are alternative and not successive, meaning only one remedy can be availed by the seller. Also note that the options of cancellation and foreclosure of chattel mortgage are available only when the buyer has defaulted on 2 or more installments. Thus, if only one installment has not been paid, the seller can only demand payment or fulfillment of the obligation, but not the other two remedies. Alright, now let's look at the rights and benefits of a buyer under the Maceda Law. Under the Maceda Law, there is a reckoning period, and that is the length of time the buyer has paid his installments. If the buyer has paid for less than 2 years of installments, he is entitled to the following. First, a grace period of up to 60 days. Second, if he fails to pay within the grace period, he is entitled to a notarial notice of cancellation or rescission. Finally, 30 days shall be observed from the receipt of the notarial notice of cancellation or rescission before the contract is cancelled or terminated. Now, if the buyer has paid for more than 2 years of installments, he shall have the following rights and benefits. First, a grace period equivalent to 30 days or 1 month for every year of payment. Now, if he fails to pay within the grace period, he is entitled to a notarial notice of cancellation or rescission. Then, a refund or cash surrender value of 50% of the total payments shall be given. Finally, 30 days shall be observed from the receipt of the notarial notice of cancellation or rescission, as well as the payment of the cash surrender value before the contract is terminated. Note that if the sale is canceled and the buyer has paid for more than 5 years, in addition to the 50% refund or cash surrender value, the buyer is also entitled to an additional 5% every year, but not to exceed 90% of the total payments made. Now, to what situations do these laws do not apply? Interesting. The Recto Law does not apply to the following. First, sale of real property, obviously. Second, it also does not apply to sale of personal property when the price is payable in full at the time of the contract. Second, the exclusivity of the remedies does not apply when the first chosen remedy is not successful due to no fault of the seller. Meanwhile, the Maceda Law does not apply when, first, the sale is an absolute sale, the Maceda Law being applicable only to contracts to sell. Second, it also does not apply when the property was purchased after a housing loan was obtained and the installments are actually repayments of the loan. And next, it also does not apply to sale of industrial lots, commercial buildings, and sale to tenants of agricultural lands. Finally, the Maceda Law does not apply when the reason why the buyer defaulted in his payments is the breach of the seller of its obligations, for example, failure to deliver the property or violation of warranties. Now, for more information on the Recto Law and Maceda Law, please check out the following decisions of the Supreme Court, which I'm going to flash on the screen right now. Okay, so for Recto Law, the first case is Magna Financial Services versus Colarina, GR number 158635, December 9, 2005. Next is Southern Motors versus Moscoso, L-14475, May 30, 1961. And lastly, Spouses de la Cruz versus Asian Consumer, GR number 94828, September 18, 1992. Now for the Maceda Law, the cases are Rillo versus Court of Appeals, GR number 125347, June 19, 1997. Next is Spouses Sebastian versus BPI Family Bank, GR number 160107, October 22, 2014. And Olympia Housing versus Pan Asiatic Travel Corporation, GR number 140468, January 16, 2003. So that's it, guys, for the difference between the Recto Law and the Maceda Law. If you found this video helpful, please drop a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that notification bell for future videos, and share this video so that others may also watch and learn from it. I'll see you in my next video. Laging tatandaan, isip ay buksan, alamin ang batas.